Will you still play when all the rest of us are dead? Well, no, of course not. Phantom of the Opera is officially closed on Broadway. And like any true Phantom fan, I'm sad. I mean, I'm not as devastated as I could be. Maybe it's because we've known for months that it was closing, so we had time to go through the 5 stages of grief, right? We had our denial, like, oh no, they're not closing. We had our bargaining, like, well, maybe if all these really awesome ticket sales keep going, maybe they'll keep it open. We've gone through anger. This is all Cameron McIntosh's fault. He's just greedy. He wants to stop paying the royalties to the estates of the dead creatives who are no longer with us. And he wants to cut production costs, the running costs for the show. But we have reached acceptance, at least for the most part. I mean, I'll never fully accept that this show has left. And by this show, I mean the original version, the original cut. True fans, true fans, we have decided that the brilliant original, as it's known, is the only acceptable one. But for some reason, I can't get over restaging Phantom. I think I'm just too attached. The flaw with having a property for almost 40 years in a certain format is you can't seem to accept any other format of the show. I'm going to give you a very even handed, what I think is going to be a fair assessment of all things Phantom, the musical. Hey everyone, this is Constance from the future cutting in because I've been editing this material for a while. It's like, okay, I would like to get my Phantom content out before too much time has gone by from the closing. So I'm going to break this up into pieces. And because I have this one section done, it took a long time. So I'm at least making 2 videos. It might be more than that. We'll see how it turns out. But just to get some of this stuff out there, I decided to go ahead and break this up into parts. So here's part 1. So honestly, what I would like to do now is give some commentary. There are flaws, but not to worry. I have some visual aids because a healthy person not only sees the show 5,000 times, they take the time to make elaborate sets and cut out puppets for your amusement. So here is my commentary coupled with my rendition of the musical version of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera. Disclaimers before we start. I do not own this show, obviously. If I did, I would still be running it. And you'll notice in the puppets in this show, the casting changes frequently. I went with images that I thought best suited each scene. So Christine and Raoul especially change a lot. So visually, if you're all like, that doesn't look like the puppet she just held up, well, that's why. I used multiple actresses to act out my Christine. I am aware of it. I did that on purpose. I also just think it's funny. So enjoy. We open on a dilapidated Paris opera house in the future. And on this particular day, there is an auction going on. So this is our prologue. And as the auctioneer brings out the next item, lot 665, a musical monkey box is presented. Very important prop, so remember the monkey. The monkey's coming back. Starts the auction, people bid, and it's sold to a Raoul Vicomte de Chagny. And the auctioneer then says, lot 666, a chandelier in pieces. And he does some hyping here, saying, some of you may recall the strange affair of the Phantom of the Opera. And the music starts to very slowly come in as he builds and builds. He says, perhaps we may frighten away the ghost of so many years ago with a little illumination. And then, bam, the orchestra comes to life and there's a flash of light. And the chandelier that's sitting in pieces on the stage, it's all like cattywampus, comes to life. And it very slowly ascends up, 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 above the audience. Yeah, okay, so the opening auction scene. Why is this here? Well, you can't just open with the overture. If you've heard this overture, you don't just turn off the lights and bam, you hit people with it. That it's too much. And thematically, you think to yourself, okay, but why is this here? I think the real reason this scene, like why this scene is here, you can do anything. This is what you pick. My guess, my educated guess, is the whole point is to show that there are consequences to the Phantom's actions. He didn't just do things and everyone just went, oh well, because once you get to the story proper, it certainly feels that way. Hopefully, this answers that, but the only flaw is it's the very beginning of the show. So when you get to the end of the show, you may not remember this. So I don't know if it does serve the story very well. The other thing that's funny is there's some flaws story beat wise. Why is Raoul here? Why have any main character? This could be totally brand new people. Like they could still do the auction and they can still do the whole, ooh, the chandelier, and it magically comes back to life. But why is Raoul here? That's a question that like let's get to the interactive portion of my videos. I'm not very good at pushing engagement on my videos, so let's start doing that now. Why is he here? Why is he claiming that Christine is so attached to this monkey? You know, we're introduced to this important monkey prop, musical box. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful little thing. But we're introduced to it, and if you study theater and film, you're like, okay, maybe this is a MacGuffin. Maybe this is like a Chekhov's gun kind of thing. No, this has nothing to do with the plot. The monkey doesn't do anything. It doesn't change the story. Why would Christine care about this thing? I don't know. I love the box, the music box, but it does nothing narratively. So it's a little frustrating. And why would Christine care? It's weird that his line is, "Oh, she often spoke of you." Why? So if you have theories about why Raoul is in this scene at all, and why is that the line that's spoken, why is this little monkey so important? I would love your comments below. Next.
Suddenly, lights up, and we've gone back in time. And our leading lady, La Carlotta, comes bursting on the stage, singing in the opera company's newest production of Hannibal. She is then joined by their leading tenor, Signor Alberto Piangi. And he has a very comical moment where he says Roma, and this is when we learned that they're rehearsing, because suddenly their stage director, Monsieur Rare, comes running on stage. No, no, no. No, no, Senor Piangi. Here is the phrase. It's Roma, not Roma. Roma, Roma. It's very hard. So while everyone's rehearsing, three gentlemen appear on stage. And it's the current manager of the opera house, this guy right here, walking the new managers around, showing them the place and introducing them to everyone. We are rehearsing! Oh, so sorry. So the managers step to the side, and the cast comes back on stage to continue rehearsing. So while they are rehearsing, we look over at the side of the stage, and the current manager is explaining to the new managers what's going on. So this is like our exposition dump. So he's explaining that they are a wonderful company, and the new managers are trying to figure out why he's leaving, and he's averting their questions by talking about our ballerina dancers here. And this is where we meet Madame Giry. Gentlemen, you're too close. We're trying to rehearse. The managers pick one girl out, and they're like, oh, who's that? And this is Meg Giry. She's Madame Giry's daughter, and one of the ballerinas. And so one girl comes in late, and she's trying to blend in with the other dancers, but not doing a good job of it. Hey, who's that? Oh, that's Christine Daae. Her head's always in the clouds. Silly girl. Ha 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 ha. Aha.
Okay, we've gone back in time. I love this scene. But the very first time you see the show, especially if you don't know anything, if you go in completely blind, you haven't heard a single note of music, the first scene is overwhelming. Everyone's on stage and there's a lot of movement. Your eye does not know where to go. I mean, you try to follow whoever's talking, but they're all taking turns. Obviously, this is a world building opportunity and exposition. We meet a lot of the characters, so there's a lot of name dropping, but it's a lot of names to pick up. So if you're a first time viewer, you're all like, well, who is what now? And they very quickly do the whole, oh yes, that's our ballet mistress. Oh yes, that's her daughter. Oh yeah, this orphan girl and her dad was a violinist. It's a lot. But the more you watch it, the more it makes sense. The downside is you have to watch it a lot, and theater is not really designed to be watched again and again because consumers are lucky if they can go to a Broadway level show at all. So that's flawed. But I'm splitting hairs here. This is not even the most egregious thing. So let's move on to more important things.
They're all moving about. And so they finish rehearsing the big number for this. With the rehearsal finish, the current manager goes, "Attention, attention everyone. I know there's been rumors about me retiring. It's true. I'm retiring and now these two are in charge. Fairman and Andre." And Monsieur Andre is a fan of Carlotta's and he asks her to sing the aria that's from this opera and she obliges. So she's singing and suddenly there's an accident. Ah! Oh, no, it's no big deal. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, bye. I can't help you anymore here. Ah. And Carlotta's so upset. Oh, these things do happen. They keep happening. Ah. Wait, is she coming back? I don't think so, monsieur. I have a note from the opera ghost. The what? The opera ghost. He's in charge here. His salary's due. What? And you must leave box 5 empty for him. Absurd. We can't fool around with ghosts. If she doesn't come back, what about tonight's sold-out performance? We're gonna have to give refunds. Ah! And this is where Meg pops up. Hey, Christine could sing it. Huh? Yes, let her sing for you. She has been well taught. This is a great idea.
Yeah, so Madame Jury is the one who's all like, oh yes, let her sing for you. This brings out a whole can of worms about Madame Jury. Why does she know what she knows? So she knows the Phantom and Christine's angel are the same person. Does she know that's the same person? She knows about the angel at all? Like, I thought the angel was like a secret until this part in the story. What does that say about her? You know, like it's almost like you get the impression, again, you shouldn't apply logic, but once you do, if you choose to do like I'm choosing to do now, it's kind of a bad look, Madame Jury. It's like, are you willingly putting this girl in danger? Do you not think this is not gonna escalate? I don't know. So it's weird that she's like, oh yes, let her sing for you. And but Think of Me is a beautiful song. It's like the first real song. I mean, yes, they're singing, Rouse sings a little bit in the prologue, and the Hannibal rehearsal, that is a song that they're rehearsing. But this is like the first, like, you can pull it out of the show and just play it without context, and it's a pretty song. It's a complete, has a beginning, middle, end song.
So Christine starts singing, timid at first, but then she gains confidence, and then the stage is transformed again. So it's later that night. Now in the place of the leading lady is Christine. She's done up in Carlotta's costume. She does very well, and it's a triumph. Yay!
Yeah, I forget to mention here in my little recreation that Raoul is sitting in the manager's box, and during Christine's song, he's all like, hey, I know that girl.
Meanwhile, backstage, Christine is enjoying her triumph with her company members. They're all telling her what a wonderful job she's done. And Madame Giry says, yes, you did very well, and he will be pleased. And then she reprimands the ballerinas, saying that they did a terrible job. So at this point in the show, they move all the way stage right to practice their ballet. So they're way over there doing that, while Christine starts to make way to her dressing room. After a successful evening, the two managers reappear with their new patron, a much younger Raoul Visconti Chani that we saw from the prologue. Oh, thank God! We don't have to give a refund. Yay! Oh, monsieur, would you like to meet our new leading lady? Yes, but I'd like to go alone. Oh, I guess they know each other. Ha 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 ha. So while the dancers are practicing all the way on stage right, Christine is over on stage left in her dressing room, changing out of her Hannibal costume, and her friend Meg appears, who should be dancing, but she's not. Oh, Christine, where did you learn to sing like that? Oh, well, my father promised me he would send me the angel of music when he died. And he is dead now, and I have been visited by the angel of music. Oh, that explains a lot, but I'm so worried about you. You just didn't seem yourself on stage tonight. Madame Giry appears. Meg Giry, aren't you a dancer? Let's go practice. Ugh, okay. Raoul shows up. Christine Daae, where is your scarf? Excuse me? You couldn't have lost it. I went through so much trouble to find it. Oh, it is you. So Christine and Raoul reminisce over their past. And Christine also explains to Raoul about her father's promise, about the angel of music, how he has passed away, and the music has definitely come to visit her. Oh, no doubt of it. We must celebrate your triumph tonight, and I'll take you to supper. Oh, no, he's so strict. Nonsense, I'll have you home before too late. I gotta go get my hat, and you need to get changed. I'll see you in a few minutes. Oh, wait, Raoul. Things have changed.
Ah, the dressing room scene. Yes, so I mentioned that the dancers are off to the one side rehearsing, and they actually very slowly recreate like those famous Degas paintings. It's just so beautiful. I love the ballerinas off to the side. That's just such a nice touch. Love it, love it, love it. This is one of the reasons why I'm sad that the brilliant original is closing. It's for tiny details like that. Anyway, we're focusing on what we don't like. So, or what has been criticized. Not all of these are my complaints. I have never stopped and thought to myself, "Hey, why does Christine have her own dressing room?" I think that's a interesting. But if we're gonna split hairs, I guess let's split all of them. I don't think of this dressing room as this big grand space. Maybe it was common back then. It's just so critical to the story because in the original novel, Christine has a dressing room, and it's the best way for the Phantom to speak to her because he does coach her through the mirror. The mirror is so important. I don't know where else they could do this where they could be alone. So I guess it does make more sense that it is her own room versus the restaging, which is just like a big generic rehearsal space. Like a shared dressing room, which is probably more realistic, but we need this really critical moment in the story so that it's like, well, how do they even cross paths? If he's disfigured and can't approach her like a normal person, what does he choose to do? Some one way or the other, he finds out that her father has died and has promised to send her an angel of music. So he's like, perfect. I'm a magician. I'm a ventriloquist. I can fool this girl into thinking I am this angel. Now, obviously, this is a criticism of the Phantom as a character right out of the gate because we live in the post Me Too world now, and so everyone's like, "Oh yeah, now we're glorifying this incel who lives in the basement of the Paris Opera." Okay, that's applying too much logic to this story. You got to think about when we are. This is 1800s Paris. She's an orphan. She doesn't have a lot of means, but she was a religiously, spiritual person. So it's completely conceivable that she would think an angel is visiting her. That's why it's so important that it's not known to anyone outside of her because maybe she thinks it's happening in her own mind. It's a spiritual thing. It's not of this world. And yeah, is it kind of shitty that this guy is tricking her into thinking he's the angel? It is. I don't condone him doing it, but I understand that from his perspective, he's like, I can't just go up and talk to her. So this is my in. If I do this and I say I'm going to materialize into a real person later, let's see if I can't find love. He's not good at this. Okay. Even though he's supposed to be this mad genius, he's an architect and a musician and he has the voice of an angel. That doesn't mean he's, really good at social skills. He's got that beautiful mind thing. But people who are a genius tend to not have good human relation skills. So that tracks. Anyway, I don't care that she doesn't have her own dressing room. It's important to the story. We're only here for a minute. It's not a fancy room. I can live with this oversight, let's call it.
The music gets really ominous. Suddenly, a mysterious voice starts singing to her. It's her angel of music, and he says to her, "Look at your mirror, and you shall see me." And there we get our first shot of the Phantom, who she thinks is her angel. She's like, "Oh, angel, I hope I pleased you tonight." And he beckons her to him. "Come with me." And she can't help herself. She's entranced, and he opens the mirror unbeknownst to her, and they disappear behind the mirror together. And Raoul comes back. Hey, hey. Where'd she go? Huh. And we go to a blackout. And this is where the title song starts blaring. And coming down from above on a cross bridge, we see the Phantom and Christine slowly descending down, 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 as they sing the title song together. So he's leading her back and forth very slowly.
Okay. So now we're moving on to the mirror has been opened. The Phantom takes Christine and they're descending down to Lair. This is like the iconic piece. So there's some iconic things about the show. The chandelier going up and down is iconic. Masquerade is iconic. And the title song, this whole scene, iconic. It's problematic though, because when you listen to just the music, this song is so different from all the other songs. Angela Weber has a habit of doing these like rock songs. Again, you got to think about the time period. Once you listen to Jesus Christ Superstar, Phantom makes a lot of sense musically. I'm not a music person, but just motifs and overall musical styling, it makes sense. But I think it's because he wrote this song first and he was like, I have this idea, and slowly but surely, shows morph over time. So, I mean, this song is just so iconic and it does stick out. And the staging of this, I will admit, is a little odd. I don't know how when you just listen to it and you try to picture what's going on stage, you're like, okay, this is a stage show. What could possibly be going on? You don't think of two people in the dark slowly going back and forth on a bridge. That feels very low energy, and the song is, higher energy. But I don't know how you would make it better. I certainly don't know how you would stage it differently so that it matches musically what's going on. But I can see why you would have a problem with it. It's not until we get to the very end. When we get to the end and they get in the boat and they slowly come down stage, and you have the fog and you have the candelabras slowly coming out, and the organ slowly slides on, and the portcullis slowly comes down. Like just watching everything just go. I mean, that's theater. And these are not huge set pieces. The boat is very small. The organ is very small. It's not a full-fledged organ with all the piping that you picture like a pipe, like in grand cathedrals. It's not that kind of organ. It's actually very bare bones. And it's just candelabras. There's no walls or doors. You have the portcullis, but again, that's like an open weave thing. So it's actually very sparse. But because it's so dark and theatrical and it's really elevated by the lighting, it just works. So yeah, but the music, the song itself feels out of place, and what they're doing during the song does feel a little like, yeah, okay.
Now, as the Phantom and Christine make their final descent off the bridge and into the boat, the Phantom's lair magically appears before the stage. The candelabras come out from the floor. There's fog everywhere. And once they finish that song, they go right into the Phantom's big musical number, Music of the Night, where he basically sings about his love for her. It leads up to the iconic moment where he's cradling her. So this is like an iconic piece of the show. And the number ends with the Phantom leading Christine over to an item that's covered with a sheet, and when he removes the sheet, we see a mannequin dressed up in a bride's dress, and she looks an awful lot like Christine. And as Christine approaches it, the bride kind of jumps out at her like it's falling over, and it makes Christine faint. And the Phantom finishes his song, and we cut to black.
One of my biggest complaints about the title song is we go right into Music of the Night. Like you don't even have, they don't pause long enough for you to be like no. The Phantom keeps singing and then he slows down into Music of the Night. Oh yeah, the Mirror Bride. I don't know why Angela Weber is obsessed with dolls. Like there's a lot of mannequins in the show, and for a time he had mannequins in the sequel Love Never Dies. I don't understand the doll thing. I don't know why this is here. I've watched some people explain, they think thematically, oh, he's just so shy and this is his way of saying I love you, and it's a way to visually communicate his feelings. I don't know. I do think the bride thing is weird. The only thing that I think works about it is, well, how do you end this song and Christine's not still in trance? I guess it's what's good about it is it forces her to faint, because in the original novel, when he takes her down, he coaxes her through the mirror, and she talks about how she feels like she's in a haze. It's described in the book in a way that you get the feeling that maybe he's drugging her, which does not look good. So we don't want to imply that. But why is she entranced? Like really, like picture this happening in real life. If someone was singing to you, could you really be entranced by that? And then how do you snap out of it? Also, there's a lot of debate about what Music of the Night, the song, even means. This is like the epitome of everyone's argument of like, this show's about sex. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's true. And sex does sell. Maybe that's the real reason why the show's run as long as it has. But maybe we don't want to get too sexy. So if she faints and he just covers her up very gently with his cape, which is, very important stage direction, I think that helps implies that he did not actually seduce her all the way. You could say this is a song about seduction, but they do not have sex. I think that's the whole reason to have her faint, is to really show that he overwhelms her with emotion and she's not, you know, like how all of us were when we were teens. You don't know what's going on with your body and your emotions. So it's just too much and she faints. And so he's like, okay, that's fine. And he's just gonna slowly back away. That's better than being like a creepy, rapey kind of guy. Maybe that's why this Mirror Bride thing has to be here, just to really enforce, like, oh, isn't this sexy? I'm trying to seduce you. Oh, I'm woo. But they can't actually have sex. That would be really bad. Maybe Angelo ever knew that. Maybe he knew that, right. Again, you have to look at the original production stills. Michael Crawford was made up to really look pale and old, and Sarah Brightman was young. She wasn't a minor, but in the book, I think she's a minor. I think she's like 17 in the book, and the Phantom is like 50. I don't know. It's it's definitely got a cradle robbing thing going on. So maybe this is why the Mirror Bride has to be here. I just think, oh, I wish they had come up with something different, because the doll thing kind of freaks me out. But that's my own personal hang up. Is it really a flaw in the show? No, because I guess thematically you need it there, or practically you need it there to show that they did not have sex.
It's the next morning and the Phantom is at his organ playing, composing his music. And we hear the monkey music box play. And it wakes Christine up. Remember the monkey. So through cultural osmosis, you probably know this moment. This is the iconic moment where Christine is awake now and she's no longer in trance, and she's like, huh, I wonder who this masked man is. Why does he hide a mask? My angel doesn't need to hide from me. And so she goes over, creeps up behind him, and rips off his mask, and he flies into a rage. No! What have you done? Ah! The horror! She gives him back his mask. He puts it on. And even though he just said, now you can never leave, he's all like, okay, let's go back upstairs.
Okay, now we're getting into the first real like script flaw. Like I love the music of the show, but the book, which is a musical term for the script, is flawed. You have to have the unmasking scene. This is the moment of Phantom of the Opera, the concept. It's not even unique to the musical. But what's weird is he flies into a rage and he yells at her and he actually says a line like, now you can never leave. And then she gives him the mask back and he's like, okay, we're going back upstairs. I'm like, oh, his emotions are giving me whiplash here. Now, maybe we're trying to say that this is an unhinged person because he is. Maybe they're trying to show that he's a little schizo. Fine. It's just so abrupt and it doesn't make sense. In the book, it's been a while since I've read the book, but I'm pretty sure that when Christine, same thing happens. He takes her down. She's like in a trance, falls asleep. Next morning, she snaps out of it. And she's all like, hey, why is he wearing a mask? So she rips it off. And in the book, he's all like, well, now you'll run away if I let you go. So now you have to stay here with me forever. And she's like, no, I promise I'll come back. I mean, I think she has to spend weeks convincing him to let her go. Now the musical doesn't have time for that. But he shouldn't have the line, now you can never leave. Oh, we gotta go back. Those two fools who run my theater will be missing you. He's the one who has these two lines. Just change one of those lines. Really, just change the now you can never leave. Like, he could have said something like, well, now you've ruined everything. Don't bring up the whole not leaving part. Because it makes what he does next not make sense. So, script problem.
So as the Phantom's lair fades back into the floor and onto the sides of the stage, we're met with Joseph Bouquet. He's the chief of the Flies, and he's trying to scare the young ballerinas by telling them scary stories of the Phantom, because this is an opera house that believes the ghost is real. And in the background, shrouded in darkness, they see two figures moving, and it is the Phantom bringing Christine back. And they're like, ah! But not everyone. Joseph Bouquet thinks it's funny. Madame Giry appears. I wouldn't laugh about this. Anything you know, you should keep to yourself. Snitches get stitches. I'm just saying. And he's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, this scene is only here to help change scenes and also foreshadowing.
We cut to the manager's office, and Monsieur Firmin's reading the headlines and deciding for himself who needs to run a legitimate business. All this scandal is great publicity. Look at all the money we're making. I'm so happy. And his partner Andre comes in. Oh, this is terrible. We keep losing cast members. So what? We're making money. But we need a cast to keep making that money. Blah. Oh, hey, we have notes. I need to get paid. Love and kisses, the Phantom. Oh, I have a note. Hey, some of these people need to be fired. What? Then in walks Raoul Vicomte de Chagny. I have a note, and I'm not happy. Rawr. What are you talking about? I have your note. What note? We didn't send a note. Yes, you did. No, we didn't. Yes, you did. Why are you telling me to stay away from Christine? I'm your patron. What? What are you talking about? This note, it says stay away from Christine. We didn't write it. Well, if you didn't write it, who did? And then in burst Carlotta and her husband, Piangi. Ah! Look, it's the Vicomte. I got your note. What note? The note that says you can't perform here anymore. Just because you're giving us money doesn't mean you're the boss. I didn't write you a note. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. And then walks in Madame Giry, and Meg's here too, for some reason. Christine has returned, and everyone's like, yay. She's like, here, I have a note. Boo. So while these seven are on stage, we don't see the Phantom, but we hear his voice. I am the Phantom, I'm in charge. You will pay me my money. And leave my box open. And Christine's going to play the lead, and Carlotta's going to be the silent role that's in tonight's opera. Love and Kisses, the Phantom.
Notes. I love this scene, but I also kind of hate it. No, I love it. What's funny about this, and my husband's the one who pointed this out to me, he said, you know what I don't understand is why does Carlotta come in and she goes, oh, I have the note from the VCOT. How dare you? He pointed out that they have not met before. This is the first time they're meeting in this show. Why does she think the note's from him? Where does that come from? That's a good thing to ask. I think they're just doing like a nesting doll motif of the managers are like, oh, we have notes. Who could they be from? And then Raul walks in and he's like, I have your note. And they're like, we didn't send you a note. And he's like, huh? And then Carlotta comes in and she's like, I have your note. And he goes, I didn't write a note. And they're like, huh? Like pass it along. So I think it's just meant for a gag. But yeah, why does she assume she should assume it's from the managers? Because it would make sense that she saw the papers too, and Christine was a triumph, and maybe they don't, need her. So maybe she thought, oh, hey, they don't need me anymore because no one asked for a refund, and now they sent me this note saying you're fired, basically. That would make more sense. Plus, it would be cool if everyone was coming to the managers going, what's with these crazy notes, managers? You're crazy, and they suddenly feel overwhelmed. It would lead more credence to their whole far too many notes for my taste. I love that line, and that line would sell more if everyone thought all the notes were from them instead of doing this. You wrote me a note. You wrote me a note. You wrote me a note. Like passing it along like a baton.
Well, this is an outrage. We are not going to do this. Christine, play the lead. I am the diva, not her. I can't be treated this way. No worries. You will play the lead. We are the managers here. Really? Yes, you will sing tonight.
The other problem with Prima Donna, this is a beautiful song, but it's so hard. There are 7 people on stage, and they're all singing something different. Well, there are times when the managers and Pyonji are singing the same lyrics, and there are times when Raul and Madame Jury and Meg, they're taking turns. Like sometimes it's Madame Jury and Meg who are singing something the same, and sometimes it's Raul and Meg sing. So you have 2 groups, and really it's like 3 chunks of song. But there are times when all 7 of them are saying something completely different. So listening to it live, you are like, what are they saying? My first introduction to this show was listening to it for 2 years straight. But I had the libretto in front of me because there were times when I'm like,
the Phantom who says, I'm warning you, do as I say. Mwahaha. And so we cut to black. And again, we don't see anybody, but basically what's going on is Raul's all like, do, it's later that night, the performance is about to begin. Oh look, the house is sold out. I'll just sit in box 5. And the managers are like, are you sure? Oh yeah, it's fine. Okay.
Yeah, the curtain is closed, and Raul's all like, I'm gonna sit in box 5. It's so clumsy. I guess they just really want you to know that that's where he's sitting. But the curtain opens up and Il Muto starts, and then the managers have a couple lines in their box. And I don't know why he's in box 5. He was in the manager's box for Hannibal. Why isn't he in their box again? I don't know why he's like, I'll just sit in box 5. I mean, we need someone in box 5 to piss off the Phantom, because that does happen in the original story. It's just so clumsily done. I'm just saying, do it better. That's all I'm saying.
Lights come up on this evening's performance of Il Muto. And remember, Raul is sitting in box 5. The cast of Il Muto comes out and they're doing the show. Oh, ha 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 ha. Very funny. Carlotta steps forward with her maid, who is the silent part. And she's like, haha, we fooled my husband. Serafimo, you can remove your disguise. And it's Christine, dressed up like the page boy. And they're having their silly old time. Outside in the house, there's a proscenium arch. And the Phantom is seen above. And he's all like, why is someone sitting in my box? Ah! We're just going to keep going and pretending this is normal. So Carlotta tries to sing, and she starts croaking like a frog, and she's like, oh no, ah! Ha 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 ha. The managers appear, and they try to apologize, and it's like, okay, ha ha ha, Christine will be singing, just give us a few minutes to get ready. Yeah, so we're gonna bring, the ballet forward. Yes. From Act 3, even though we're not in Act 3 right now. So, the ballet, woo!
I love Il Muto. Il Muto is so great. I love the costumes. I love everything that they do. But narratively, I don't know why they do this whole, we're going to bring the ballet. It makes no sense to break up the performance and bring out a piece that, we don't know where we are on the show. Why are we doing this at all?
So the ballerinas come on stage, and they're trying their hardest to do the ballet. They're innocent here. La 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 la. And while they're dancing, a mysterious shadow appears in the background. Ah! Oh, la 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 la. Ah! This goes on for a few minutes. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the body of Joseph Bouquet comes crashing down from the ceiling, suspended. Ah! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, please don't freak out. It was just an accident.
Yeah, here's the bigger question. Bouquet, why are we killing him right now? Why are we throwing his body down right now? They just met your demands. Christine's gonna take on the leading role, and yet here you are throwing a dead body at him. And this is another flaw with people who make fun of people who sympathize with the Phantom. They're like, oh my god, this guy's a killer. He's dangerous. It's really hard to sympathize with someone once they get to murder or level status. It's like, okay, he has now killed a person. I don't know how you come back from that. I don't know how we're supposed to feel bad for a person who kills someone who, I mean, Joseph Bouquet is a harmless, he's not a threat. He's quite harmless. It's a shame that the Phantom, again, he's just so emotional. And he perceives Bouquet with whatever he knows or whatever he's spreading around. I mean, it's not like he's saying, hey, he's just some guy. He was spreading the myth. He was making him bigger. He's like his hype man. So I don't know why you would kill the person who's trying to keep your myth alive. It doesn't make any sense. In the book, Bouquet dies because he gets too close to Eric's in the book, Joseph Bouquet dies because he gets too close to the Phantom's lair, or he just accidentally steps into a booby trap because the Phantom has booby trapped the place. Something. It's not on public display like it is here. It's not this big message moment or statement piece. And this clearly was, he kills him on purpose. That kind of doesn't make sense, especially since they met his demands. And it's like, okay, well, now Christine definitely shouldn't sing tonight because, hello, dead body. Why would the audience stay in their seats? Why would they continue? They should evacuate everyone going, okay, we're clearly done here. So everyone go home. Bye. I don't know why they're so insistent on, let's keep going. In theater, we do have that expression, the show must go on, but we do have limits, people. Okay, a person dying does warrant, and we're done for the night.
We cut away to the roof of the opera house, where Christine has beckoned Raoul to join her up there. Oh, I'm so scared. I can't believe it. Now I understand. My angel's not an angel. He's one and the same. He is the Phantom. Oh my goodness. What? There's no ghost. Yes, there is. I've seen him. I've been to his world. It's awful. Oh, I'm so scared. There, Christine. And they sing a beautiful love duet, All I Ask of You. They've forgotten all about their troubles. Oh, that's right. I have a show to do. I need to go finish. Raoul, meet me at the door afterward, and we'll leave together. Yes, Christine, I'll take you wherever you want to go. We're so in love. Ah. Unbeknownst to them, an angel sculpture that suspends itself down from the proscenium has been hanging above them the whole time. And who comes up above it? You guessed it. The Phantom himself. She's betrayed me. I will have my revenge. As he slowly makes his way back up to the proscenium arch. The rooftop disappears while Christine is giving her bow at the end of the show. And up above her on the arch, the Phantom releases the chandelier. So that chandelier that we saw at the top of the show comes crash crashing down. Whoosh! End of Act 1.
Oh, the rooftop. The rooftop is so important. It's also in the book. It takes place at a different part in the book, but that doesn't matter. The point is, Christine and Rel are supposed to go to the roof and confess their love to each other, and Christine does reveal, "Hey, I'm kind of putting two and two together. I just found out my angel is a real person, and now I'm realizing that this same person has been pretending to be the opera ghost. Now she's part of this company. Does she not know that there's a ghost? We don't know how Christine feels about the Phantom. All those lines are given to Meg. Meg's the one going, "He's here, the Phantom of the Opera." We don't know how Christine feels about the Phantom. Is she just as scared as the rest of them? She doesn't once think to herself, "Isn't it weird that I'm talking to an angel and I'm being haunted by a ghost at the same time?" Not her personally, but she's in a place that's currently being haunted. I'm surprised she doesn't, take a minute and go, "Well, that's a little convenient." Again, 1800s. She's a third class citizen. She can't be overly educated. We don't know what her schooling is. So simple people are easier to dupe, I guess. But anyway, I digress. This does need to happen. They're on the rooftop and she's explaining that she's put it all together. At this point, he's pulling like what the manager's doing, like, yeah, sure. Anyway, I love you, and marry me, basically. And they sang "All I Ask of You," another beautiful song. All these songs are gorgeous, but the flaw with it is at the very end, they end the song with. I guess that's the real problem with this show. They don't know how to end scenes. They snap out of the song, and Christine's all like, "Oh, I have to go do my show now. Meet me at the door, okay?" And he's like, "Okay." Why does she think? She knows that a person just died. I don't know why she thinks the show is still going to go on. And they plan to meet at the door. It's revealed that the Phantom is in the angel sculpture above them, because that happens in the book. He was eavesdropping, and he does have that whole "you betray me." That's a very, if I ignore everything else about the world and just focus on the Phantom singing in the angel, he does totally break my heart. This is a very heartbreaking moment. Makes me sad. But it's funny that he's all like, "Curse you all!" And his reaction is, "I'm gonna make the chandelier come down now." He goes downstairs and Christine finishes the show. I don't know how much time is supposed to transpire between these 2 points, by the way. It's instant in the show, but in what's the timeline in here? Is that just like their version of doing like later that night after at the end of the show? So Christina's giving a bow in the leading role as he wanted, but then he brings the chandelier down. Why? Why is he doing this? This is a weird place to do the chandelier crash. So the Phantom's motives, which we'll talk about more at length in a minute, it doesn't make sense. But I think they wanted the chandelier, like it's okay that the chandelier crashes at the end of Act 1. Just talk about the story. Why would he demand that Christine play the lead role? He gets what he wants, and then he brings he kills a person and brings the chandelier down, probably killing more people. Let's get to Act 2, shall we?
So, top of Act 2, we're actually in the dark, just enough to see two shadowy figures walking around. Is it the Phantom? Who's that? Who's that? Oh, wait. It's just Monsieur Andre and Fearman in their masquerade costumes. Ha ha ha, fooled you. The stage becomes brighter and we see the full cast in their masquerade costume. Masquerade, paper faces on parade. While everyone's enjoying the festivities, Christine and Rel appear, and they divulge that they are secretly engaged, but they're arguing. "Oh, we need to keep it a secret, but why?" "Just reasons." "I don't understand." "You don't need to understand, just trust me." "Okay."
Oh, my favorite Act 2 opening ever. I love Masquerade. I love the costumes. Again, more dolls. So if you don't know, you probably do know. I'm probably just preaching to the choir here, right? My fellow fans. So the staircase has several mannequins in masquerade costumes. Just, the idea is it's one of those optical illusions of there's way more people here than it looks like. That's their whole purpose. But I'm like, again, with these dolls, I would like to see masquerade without the mannequins because I'm curious how it would look. I wonder if it would still read okay, or if you'd be like, oh man, those mannequins awfully do a lot. What do you think? Do you want to see masquerade with the staircase with those elaborate costumes, but no mannequins? How would you feel about just as an experiment? Not saying forever, just to see one time, just to see if it tracks. Comment below what you think.
So while the entire company is enjoying a huge Act 2 opening rousing number of Masquerade, oh, it's the Phantom in his classic Red Death costume. I'm back! Ha ha ha. And I have demands. I have written my opera and it's finished. You will perform my opera, or I will make more terrible things happen, like bringing the chandelier down. Do my bidding. Wah! And everyone flees in a panic.
I mean, this is an entrance. Red Death. Oh, it's a great entrance. But again, we're picking on the narrative here. What's wrong with the book? Oh, Act 2. Act 2 is just full of flaws. Okay, so what's wrong with Act 2? Well, it starts right here with the Phantom coming in. He's all like, I've written this opera and you will perform it. And if you don't, bad things will happen. Now, maybe they haven't had their Alice training, but it's weird that he's in a room full of people. I mean, there's supposed to be like hundreds of people in the room, and there's just one of him. It's interesting that they don't think to swarm him and overpower him so that they're like, hey, look, we caught him because he came out of hiding. We can see him now. As far as we know, no one has actually laid eyes on him except for Christine. Maybe Madame Jury has because of what we learned in the next scene, but I find it interesting that they don't try to overpower him right here because then the story could end right here. That would be bad for musical theater, but from the story's perspective, they could end their problems right there. I'm just saying. And it's also weird that they're like, new chandelier. I want to say it says 6 months later, like in the libretto. Oh, so you cleaned up the chandelier and you got a new one? Why would you buy a new chandelier? I would just not have a chandelier. Well, the electric light didn't exist yet. Maybe they had no choice because from a lighting perspective, but if I didn't have to have a chandelier, if I get maybe instead of one big one, I'd get like really small ones. Do like what we do now with lanterns. I'm just saying, if I was the managers, but these managers are not supposed to be very bright. They're actually, well, it depends on the actors playing them. They can be kind of stupid, I guess.
But not Raoul. He hunts down Madame Giry. What do you know? I know nothing. Yes, you do. No, no. Tell me, but there have been so many accidents. I need to know. And here we get another exposition dump, but it's more backstory. There was a traveling fair and a man in a cage. What? Why? He was disfigured. Oh no, that's it. This man is our man. Yes, everyone thought he died, but he didn't. I have seen him again. Oh no, I've said too much. I'm out of here. Ah!
Okay, now this scene's important. We need some backstory, and we need something for certain characters to do. If you really look at Madame Jury's masquerade costume, she's the one who changes the least. She's just like head to toe, severe black, sharp lines. She is wearing a sparkly shawl, something or other, but she doesn't really have like a head to toe costume change. So it fits with her character. And because she's like our Persian insert, of course she would know what she knows about the Phantom. I guess Raoul must have like maybe this is why they made his costume the second most easiest to change because everybody else in the show has this elaborate masquerade costume and they need to go change and they need to get rid of that staircase and all the mannequins. So there's a lot going on. So we need this scene for multiple reasons. This scene is here practically, but it does bring up more questions of like, Madame Jury knew stuff and she never said anything. Like, go to the police, go do something. It's weird that she just sits on this information, and it's not until Raoul is very forcefully like, "You need to tell me what you know," that she's like, "Oh, okay, well, let me tell you what I do know. Here's some things. I saw this traveling fair with a freak, and oh, he escaped. People thought he died. But it's funny how lately I feel like I've seen, like, again, if she's putting two and two together, why hasn't she done anything? I understand that she's a woman and maybe she feels like, well, no one's going to listen to me, or maybe it's because she's not an important figure in society. I don't know. I'm just surprised that she doesn't try to do something, even anonymously, like write the police a note, like take a cue from the Phantom, write a note. Note writing gets things done, apparently. Well, it depends. I guess not, because they ignored his notes in the first scene. Speaking of notes, let's go to the next scene.
We cut back to the manager's office. Oh, more demands than ever. Oh, look, more notes from the Phantom. Just do what I say and all will be well. And Carlotta's here still. And Piangi. Oh, this is an outrage. What was wrong? Have you seen the size of my part? Oh! In walks Christine and Raoul. So, you've secured the largest role in this new production. Will you sing it? No, I don't think I will. Right, because this is all her plan secretly. This is all a plot to help her career. I knew it. Oh, how dare you? Our lives are in danger. I don't care about this. I don't believe you. So they're all arguing and Madame Giry pops in. I have a note. Yay, said no one. So Madame Giry starts reading the note, and just like in the first manager scene, we don't see him, but we hear the Phantom say, do as I say.
Oh yeah, this scene is stupid. I love this show, but this scene is stupid. First of all, they're just going along with it. They're like, oh, I guess we'll do this show. And Christine's all like, I'm not going to do it. And she actually has the line, can I betray this man? It's like, well, you already did. So this is a weird line. I've never liked this line in the show. It's stupid. And the more I see the show, I notice that the end of this scene changes a little bit. Depends on who's doing it. I don't know if it's each individual cast members, if they have any. I like to think that you don't have any license to alter your lines, but I can't help but notice that the lines have changed over time. So it used to be, it would end with her like, I can't do it. No, I won't do it. And she storms out. But there's other times where she just goes, oh, this is horrible. Ah, and she walks out. She doesn't actually use the phrase, I won't do it, because in the very next scene, she's on stage rehearsing this thing. So it's like, what happened off stage that you change your mind? Like it's a real problem. I don't get why she actually has a line that says, I won't do it. And then in the next scene, she's doing it. Narratively, that makes no sense. And because they're back to back. If you had something in between those two scenes, that either explained how she changed her mind or why she was forced to change her mind, something, then it would make sense. But no, whatever it is, it happens off stage. And I'm like, okay, it's not that we need our hand held, but you do got to explain a little bit.
Suddenly Raoul's all like, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we just do what he wants? But on the night of the performance, we'll lock up the opera nice and tight, and we will trap him, and he will be ours. It's brilliant. What a great idea. Oh yeah, what a great idea, the manager seemed to think. No, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. It's just too terrible. Please, Christine, no. And they spend the rest of the scene trying to convince her. Ah! And she runs off. And after Christine runs off, Raoul's like, ah, this time, my clever friend, the disaster will be yours. It is war!
Yeah, let's talk about Raoul's plan. He's all like, I have an idea. Let's do his work. That'll make him happy. He wants Christine to be the lead. That'll make him happy. He will be compelled to come. Let's lock up the opera house and then he'll be trapped. Well, this is a stupid plan. It's like, this is where he lives. He has built this place. It's got countless hallways and trapdoors and hidden doors and secret passages. Like, I don't know why they think locking all the doors that they know about, just regular doors, is gonna give them some sort of edge. Maybe this is why people don't like Raoul, because his plan is stupid. I don't hate Raoul so much the person, but this is a dumb plan. It's like, okay, you're gonna have a bunch of police in the building and the doors will be locked. Woo.
After the manager's office, we cut to a little in-between scene where the entire cast of the opera company is rehearsing the new play, and our favorite director, Monsieur Rier, is here again. No, Piangi. This is the phrase. Those who tan, tan, tan. Hmm. So they argue, and a piano that's over on the side mysteriously starts playing. So they start taking the rehearsal seriously as we cut to black.
Yeah, so this little scene where they're practicing it, I don't know why this is here because to change from the manager scene to the graveyard scene, what I know about the scene change is not a big to do. So it's not here for scene change purposes that I am aware of. What I like about it is our musical director, Monsieur Rare, is there, and they do a nice callback where Pianji struggles with a word in Hannibal, and here he is struggling with another word in Don Juan. Haha, it's very funny. Otherwise, this scene doesn't need to be here. Like, you could cut this whole thing and it'd be fine.
While we're in the dark, Christine emerges alone on stage and she's reminiscing about her poor dead father, and a graveyard scene appears behind her, and she has her beautiful solo number, Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again, all talking about how she misses her dad and how alone she feels, and she's so confused. And unbeknownst to her, in the background, appears the Phantom. Please come back. And he almost convinces her to do it, but then Raoul has to appear. She's not yours. Ugh, get out of here, boy. No. And while they're kind of like, he's up suspended way up stage and Raoul's down on the stage. So the Phantom's up high, and he taunts Raoul with his staff that he shoots fireballs at. No, be gone, boy. Pew pew pew. I said get back. Pew pew pew. You can't win her love by making her your prisoner. Raoul, come away. Don't go, says the Phantom. He's like, fine, be that way. I'll just kill everyone. It is war upon you both. He beckons fire to appear. Whoosh. Cut to black.
Oh, the graveyard scene. And in the iconic uh, fans have called it the wishing dress, Christine's blue dress. It's the only costume in the show that for the character, it's just her everyday streetwear. Everything else she wears in the show technically is a costume in universe. Maybe that's why people like it. Also, the design on the fabric is trademarked. You can't just buy this. They invented this for this character. I believe it's in Scotland. So yeah, it's famous fabric, famous print, big fan favorite. So if they were to bring the show back, because I even if Cameron McIntosh himself is not the one who does it, someday they'll revive the show. When she's not wearing this dress, I think fans will riot. I do think people will go, I don't know what this is. I mean, certainly I like to think certain costumes would be safe. Like, let's take Annie. Annie always wears that classic red with the Peter Pan collar dress. Like, that's quintessential Annie costume. I like to think that the Christine wishing dress is the same level of like, oh, you got to have that one dress. Like, it's okay if you change the other dresses to an extent, but not the wishing dress. Anyway, that's my little side bit on that. Beautiful solo song, Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again. Uh, then the Phantom shows up, which happens in the book. She really does visit her dad's grave, and she's having like an existential crisis. That tracks. And he does follow her, but he doesn't interact with her in the book. He's just watching her from afar. It's okay to change it here because I think this is him just trying to figure out, oh, is there any chance I still have power over this girl? Can I convince her to leave her fiance and overlook my misdeeds and love me anyway? You know, this is clearly a desperate attempt to win her affection back. Of course, Raoul has to show up and it makes him go crazy. Like it, you know, Raoul is just a trigger for him. So they have their little sparring moment. Now, let's talk about why the show is closing from a running cost perspective. So here's a flaw. In this scene, maybe it's to raise the stakes, maybe it's to show just how dangerous this man is. So the Phantom staff has flash paper so it can spark flames. And then when they run off, he's like, well, fine, war on everyone. And huge flames coming out of the floor. So there's pyrotechnics, they are dangerous. You got to be careful and they're expensive. I don't think we need fire. I mean, sure, it's a cool theatrical moment, and who doesn't love real fire? You know, again, builds tension, but it feels very 1980s level pyrotechnics. They do feel dated, and I just don't know what they really do for the show, except for that initial like, oh, like here's where the oh, it's just a bunch of spectacle. It's not deep at all. Well, little choices like this really give credence to that. We could cut the pyrotechnics here, and I don't think I'd miss it. I don't. I think just them using their words, arguing, and Christine going, "No, we're not doing this. Let's get out of here," is enough. Again, they don't know how to end a scene. That's the trend here. All the scenes are good, but then they don't know how to finish them, so they kind of just stop. And most of them don't end very well. So I don't like this ending either. Like I don't know why Raul shows up and wants to get into a fight with him, and I don't know why Christine's like, let's just go. Like it's weird that they kind of just run away. Like, well, he followed you there. You don't think he's gonna keep following you? Also, why did they go back to the opera? Why not just get out of town? Raul's a Vicon. He has money. Christine can't get out of town by herself. But now that she and Raul are engaged, they can just leave. I like to think that that's possible. It's like, oh, you got a murdering psychopath, stalking you. Get out of Dodge. Like that's. I don't know why but this is a problem in all versions. Like they could easily leave, and they don't. Obviously, then you don't have a story if they don't stay. But you got to give a real good reason why they can't leave. It's just not expressed. Maybe express that, and then I wouldn't hate this so much.
The scene suddenly changes to the night that the opera Don Juan Triumphant opens, and there are policemen everywhere, and Raoul appears. Everything in place? Yes, sir. Good. Lock all the doors, and have your men with their guns ready. And there's a man down in the pit. So the policemen are all walking around getting ready. And again, we still don't see him, but we hear his voice. I'm here, the Phantom of the Opera. And he keeps telling him, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And shots are fired. Idiots, not yet. Let the audience in. Let my opera begin. Mwah.
Okay. In some ways, this is the worst scene. I love the song "Past the Point of No Return." I love this costume that Christine wears. I'm addicted to this costume. I'm mad about it. But this scene is pretty stupid. So first of all, Raul is walking around talking to these policemen. He's all like, "Everything ready?" And they're like, "Oh yeah." And the Phantom tricks one of them into getting a trigger happy and shooting off his gun. I mean, again, so dangerous. What if the guy was really spooked and he hits, like he thought he was aiming for the Phantom. But what if he had hit Raul or someone, another policeman? Like, okay, Phantom, you can have your little jokey jokes, but you almost cost another life. And I don't know why you think this is okay. It's not okay. This is only going to give credence to people who believe in gun control. They're like, oh, see, you can't even trust what's supposed to be trained officers. They'll just fire because they spook easy. I do think it's to help wake the audience up because "Wishing You Were Somewhere Here Again" is another slow song. It's kind of the 11th hour ish song. This is to help wake people up, I think. But you just had fire. Yeah, the gunshot thing, it's kind of stupid. Also, how much time has gone on between the graveyard scene and now? I mean, I don't know what the rehearsal time back in the day was. Like how many days has it been? Has it been weeks? Has it been months? And also, they say let the audience in. There's a live audience in front of them as they do this opera. Who the heck is coming to this opera? They're like, look, I saw a dead body and the chandelier came down. You think this place would be like, okay, we're ruined. No one's ever going to come here ever again. I actually can't believe that they have people coming back. I mean, because back in this time, only the upper class would come because they're the ones with money. I just don't see that group of people wanting to go back. But I don't, I have not studied different classes in different time periods. I don't know what the culture was really like. Maybe humans have always been the same. We're just too curious. Like even though this is a place that breeds disaster, maybe people are like, our lives are so boring. We have to go and see what craziness is going to happen down at the opera house. But I do question, like, who's here?
And so we cut to the performance itself. Pianji is playing Don Juan, and he's singing his song, and what's important about the song is upstage here is a curtained off area that's supposed to be his bedroom, and he's like, I will hide in here and throw a mask over myself so that that young lady doesn't know who I am. Christine comes out on stage. She's alone, and then suddenly a hooded figure appears, and they sing together. They sing past the point of no return. Christine unmasks him, and it's the Phantom of the Opera. Now, this is where the stage show really varies every time I see it. Sometimes she acts like she's known who he was under there the whole time, and other times this is where she goes, oh my god, like it's the Phantom of the Opera. And he starts to sing to her the same song that Raoul sang to her back on the rooftop at the end of Act 1, and out of nowhere, she rips his actual mask off, and we see the horror! And there's a lot of chaos, and the Phantom abducts Christine straight from the stage. And it's revealed that Pianji is dead. So sad.
Yeah, the absolute biggest thing. Okay. Every time I've seen this show, this scene is done. And it's not words, it's actions. How Christine plays this scene is so different depending on who's playing Christine. There are times when she reacts as though she knows it's the Phantom under that cloak. Like, obviously, it's not Pianji. So the times that where she acts like she doesn't know who it is until she's holding hands and then she kind of goes like this. I think that action is there to show that she suddenly feels a mask and she knows it's the Phantom, and then she's like, oh no, and she tries to run away, but he keeps her there. I'm like, you really didn't know it was him? The most unique thing, his number one identifying quality outside of his disfigurement, is his voice. The book talks so much about this person's voice. Everything about him hinges on his voice. He has to sound like an angel. So alluring and otherworldly. He has to sound like a ghost. That's how he convinces this whole company into thinking that he really is a ghost. He's a ventriloquist, so he's, like, I mean, his voice is like so important. So it's weird that we have this ruse at all of like, I'm gonna have this scene where the Phantom wears a hooded cape over his mask. Like he's already hiding because he's wearing a mask. Does she know that it's him the whole time? Does she not find out until late in the song? I don't know. I love the song past the point of no return, but I don't, staging wise, I do not get this scene at all. Especially that, here we go again, my refrain, the end. So they get to the climax of the song and she takes the hood off of him so that we see that it's the Phantom, his masked face. And again, the staging changes. Sometimes they just stand there and stare at each other like, oh, what now? And usually they both start to drift to their respective sides of the stage. Like if they're standing here like this, Phantom goes this way, Christine goes this way. And there are people off stage who either go like, stay out there, or they try to come on stage and it's Phantom and Christine who are going, stay off stage. Like, you have police everywhere. You just established a character with a gun who's supposed to shoot when the time comes. The time has come. Unless your aim sucks, that has to be the reason why you're not shooting. Why are we shooting him? I don't want him to get shot. It's just, that was the plan. Let's go. If you're going to have a show where a dead body flies down from the rafters and a chandelier comes down and the show keeps going, just shoot the guy. It's not the first incident you're having. It's like the staging of this scene is so bad. And I don't get it. Is Christine afraid of him? Sometimes she acts afraid of him, but she doesn't actually leave the stage. She doesn't do anything to get off that stage. I think in real life she would just be like, screw willing suspension of disbelief. I'm going to jump into the pit to save myself, or I'm going to be like, help, that's the Phantom. Nothing. She stays in character or she stays quiet. Why? It doesn't make sense. Now, what's nice about the scene, once you get past that hurdle, because I have trouble, I do like that he takes a quiet moment and he reprises the song, All I Ask of You, and he's begging her. He's like, love, choose me, love me, let me make you happy. This is where we need to talk about the Phantom's plan. Okay, so from his perspective, he wants them to form his opera. Okay, fine. He wants Christine to be the star. Okay, fine. It was his plan all along to switch places with Piangi. That's why he wrote into this opera there's going to be a scene where Don Juan throws a hooded cape over his head. Doesn't raise any questions. I'm surprised no one, as they rehearsed this thing, didn't think to themselves, maybe we should pay attention to that. What did he think was going to happen? I always get the impression that he's surprised that she takes the hood off to reveal that it's him. He's always like, what did he think she was going to do? Okay, he's emotional. Maybe he feels like, again, emotions are high, stakes are high. This is my chance to just beg for love. So that's what he's doing. He's begging for love. And then she rips off his mask. He's like, no, and he kidnaps her. He could have kidnapped her at any time. I don't know why go through the whole song. Like, what's the point? But I don't know what he thought was going to happen. How did he think this was going to end? Also, what's going on in Christine's head? Okay, he's begging for her love, and her reaction, she doesn't say a word. She rips off his mask. What did she think was going to happen? She doesn't scream for help. She doesn't try to exit the stage. Not really. I mean, people stop her, but I like to think that if she was truly afraid, she would just be like, I'm coming off this. You're not stopping me. She just stands there. But then out of nowhere, she's like, I'm going to rip off his mask. Why? What? Why, Christine? As he asks her when they start descending back down into his lair, he's like, Christine, why? That's my question. Christine, why? What's the point? What were you hoping to accomplish by doing this?
Oh no, this is terrible. Oh no! Madame Jury, where did he take her? Oh, I don't know. Yes, you do. Oh, okay. I have an idea. Follow me. So while all the chaos is happening in the opera house, Madame Jury and Raoul start to descend down the same bridge that the Phantom and Christine did in Act 1. He lives across the lake. I don't go any further. Thank you, Madame Jury. Good luck. The Phantom's lair reappears, much faster this time. The Phantom and Christine appear. He has forced her into the wedding dress that we saw in Act 1. Well, what's your plan now? You just gonna keep me here forever? The Phantom kind of does admit that he's being a jerk, but he feels completely justified. So while they're having their little chat, who busts in behind him at the portcullis? Yep, it's Raoul. Let me in. Haha, no, she's mine. Please, I love her. Raoul, it's useless. Okay, fine, you can come in. So Raoul comes in, and right away he's captured by the Phantom's noose. Oh no! Ah! So Raoul gets captured, and then the Phantom gives Christine an ultimatum. Fine, you can either live with me forever or I'm gonna kill everyone. And she's like, no, let him go, please. You don't have to do this. So while poor Raoul is suspended helplessly in the back, Christine is begging the Phantom for Raoul's life. And he's all like, make your choice. Christine decides to kiss the Phantom. It's a big moment, and it kind of does him in. He decides to let Raoul go. And as soon as he lets him go, they start hearing the mob coming from the distance. They're coming to extract their revenge on the Phantom. He's gone too far and too many killings. Go, don't let them find you. But, go! I'm all alone. And then the music box plays again. And the poor Phantom is trying to console himself. Christine reappears to return the wedding ring that he handed her during Don Juan Triumphant. Christine, I love you. And as Raoul and Christine pass up stage in the boat, the Phantom sings, It's Over Now, the music of the night, and it's very beautiful and moving. And he makes his way over to his chair, and he throws his cape over himself. As the mob comes down, Meg, remember Meg? Yeah. She notices the caped area, she comes over, and she pulls it away, and there's nothing in the chair except for a mask. And she picks it up as the spotlight irises in on her, while everything else goes dark. The end.
Now we come to the scene that actually has a good ending. The final scene. So they can't get the ending of scenes right, but boy, the end of the final layer scene, I guess it's enough to make up for it. This is so important. It's so important that she shows him kindness, that when he gives her the ultimatum is a little different in the book. He presents like these mechanical insects, like a grasshopper and a scorpion. And I forget which one is which, but he says if you turn the grasshopper, the opera house will blow up. And if you turn the scorpion, um, that it means you're saying yes to living with me forever, something like that. Like it's marry me or I'm gonna kill all of us. So it's like marry me or death, basically. And I guess he is in the book. He assumes she'd rather die than spend the rest of her days living with him. But she doesn't want, I don't know how full the opera house is at this moment because again, he kidnaps her and they're underground for a while. Like it could be the next day. Who knows what's going on? Point is, you don't know how many people are in the opera house at the time that he's given her this ultimatum. She doesn't want people to die. I mean, obviously, because Raoul is there and he is trapped, so she doesn't want Raoul to die either. So even if in her mind, she's like, I'm just going to do this to save Raoul. So we simplify it here in the musical. Either you're going to stay with me forever or I'm going to kill Raoul. Well, that's not really giving her a choice, but she does choose. She's like, okay, the only way to save my love is to stay with you, I'll do it. He was not expecting that answer. So whether it's the book or this stage show, her saying, I will stay with you to prevent more death is important. And that's only one half. The rest of it is his reaction to that is he could have been like, woohoo, I won. But he's all like, oh, wow, I can't believe you would choose that. I can't keep you here. That's wrong. It's like he snaps out of his jealous tendency ways and he goes, no, this is not right. You go, Ral can go. I hear them coming. I don't want you to get mixed up in this. Go live your lives. It's fine. Redemption arc, kind of. Yeah, I don't understand why Pianji has to die. This is stupid. You can switch places with him fine, but why not just knock him out? I mean, I don't understand why the answer is, oh, now you must die. Pianji did not need to die. Hashtag justice for Pianji. But this is a perfect ending. I like that. A lot of people criticize Angela Weber for repeating his songs over and over again because in this final layer, we kind of hear motifs of Angel of Music, the song, Past the Point of No Return, the song, All I Ask of You, the song, Masquerade, the song, and of course, Music of the Night. Like, it's almost like let's do a quick recap of all the big hits in super fast fashion. But I think thematically it works because a lot of emotions going on. You know, we've passed the point of no return is a great ultimatum, like marry me or die song. All I ask of you is a nice, like, this is what happens to Christina Rao. And then off they went and lived happily ever after. And the Phantom being all sad. Because again, here's that monkey again. But him singing a reprise of Masquerade, just a couple lyrics, I think that's very in tune with who he is as a character. Like, oh yeah, hide your face so the world will never find you. I think that's him coming to terms with like, I just have to go into hiding. There is no future with me that also has love in it. And then, of course, ending with Music of the Night, his big number. He is the title character. And to have the final lyric, the final spoken thing in the show to be, it's over now, the music of the night, that's a really great ending. And it doesn't even end there. That's just the last spoken thing. Then he very slowly goes over to his like throne that's magically appeared. Okay, it doesn't matter. And to have Meg come in and pull off the cloak and his mask is the only thing that's in there, and she holds it up and the spotlight Iris is in on it. Again, it just has that whole and this was the myth that was the Phantom. It's just a good little bookend. I just think the ending is so strong, which is ironic. I just spent this whole video talking about how the ending of all these individual scenes kind of suck ass, really, but not this one. The very last one is a very good ending. I'm trying to think back now on all the previous scenes. Yeah, all the other ones don't end well. I mean, the end of Think of Me, the show, the scene just ends, with the end of the song and there's applause. So that feels natural. So it's not good or bad, it's just kind of there. Yeah, that's funny. I'm just now, as I'm filming this, going, huh, I hate the end of all the scenes except for the last one. Interesting. Again, huge Phantom fan. I don't mean to shit on this show. So if you are like me and you're sad that the show is now closed on Broadway, and you clicked on this video going, hey, look, a fellow Phantom fan, and you're like, oh, how dare you criticize the thing that I love? I love it too. But I've watched it a lot, and the more I watch it, the more I look at these little things and I go, ugh, there are flaws. I can get over most of them. Past the Point of No Return is probably the silliest of the bunch because a lot of them are just change one line, it would be fine. But again, you're not supposed to apply logic. This is me applying logic, but if I ignore all that and I just get swept up in the music, your emotions understand this show. Understand why the show is so important. And I just can't overstate why it's so important. We can go on and on about the numbers, about the influences of the creative team and things that influence them. I mean, it really is just like lightning in a bottle. There are so many elements that just really did come together in the right way. And I can't believe that something that I love is beloved by so many. There are people out there who have seen this show hundreds of times. There are actors who are in the show for thousands of performances. Why? There's just something about it, some je ne sais quoi thing. And I like to think that I've explored some of that here in my little postmortem of why is Phantom? Why is it such a cultural phenomenon where, I mean, Mayor de Blasio actually declared January 26th in New York as Phantom of the Opera Day. I mean, it's just transcended being a blockbuster musical. It is a cultural icon. It does represent an era of time. It's not that it doesn't exist anymore. Yes, we're sad that it's not on Broadway. That truly is the end of something so very special. Something that theater is not meant to be long term. It's meant to show up, have its moment, and then it vanishes almost as quickly as it came. So you almost question if it was real. Phantom blew right past that and broke every record you could possibly break. That's remarkable. We'll never have that again. I mean, yes, there are other shows that have also run over 25 years and they're special in different ways, but there's just nothing like Phantom. Phantom is definitely unique because of the alchemy that brought it together and made it what it was. And so it is sad, it is special. That's why I felt compelled to do a video on this topic because it's very near and dear to my heart. I love Phantom very much. I do recognize its flaws, which is why I took the time to point them out. But I do love this show in spite of that. So thank you for this joining me on this little journey. Hopefully it was cathartic. It was certainly cathartic for me. We are very sad. As of taping of this video, the Broadway show just days ago closed. We have no word on are they touring it? Are they bringing it back? We don't know. Don't know what the future holds. I mistakenly, last time I made a video, acted like, woohoo, it survived COVID, it's safe. Well, I feel like eating crow now. It took something huge like the pandemic to finally kill the thing. This has gone on way too long. I can go on for days and days, but I would happily have a discussion with anyone who'd like to have it with me. So that's it for now. And I'll be back with more reviews for more shows because I'm going to try to mend my heart by enjoying other works of art because I am capable of doing such a thing. Because theater as a concept is a great idea and I'm here for it. I'm excited to see other stuff and enjoy other pieces. Just had to take a day and mourn my love, which is Phantom of the Opera. And that's all. It's over now. The music of the night.